Hi y'all, this is Beth again. Just a quick little PowerPoint to talk about paraphrasing. Paraphrasing is an essential skill for any kind of research writing when you want to use somebody else's ideas to support your own thesis. So the paraphrase, in this presentation I'm going to be explaining what it is and why we do it and how on earth do we paraphrase. Literally, paraphrase comes from the Greek words para and phrase. Not pronounced that way, of course. I'm American. But para means different, and phrase, you know what that means. It's a manner of expression. So it's saying we phrase it differently. You see the same para in paragraph, which is written differently. Graph as in graphics. It's either set apart by indenting the first line or by a space in between paragraphs. But we're talking about the paraphrase here, phrasing something differently. And let's go. Why do we paraphrase somebody else's words? Why on earth would we do it? Because we want the person's ideas and not the exact words. If it's important to have the person's exact words, maybe they express it some way that it's perfect, then you use a quotation with quotation marks, a direct quotation. It might be that you want to prove that, I don't know, the president, a congressman, your teacher actually said that, and you want their exact words. But you paraphrase when you want their ideas or their figures and you don't need the exact words. Now, how do you paraphrase? First, you have to understand what they're saying, of course. You read the original words and you say, hey, this is a good idea, or I want these facts. And then you make sure you understand exactly what they're saying, because when you're paraphrasing, you're still obligated to follow that writer's ideas or their facts or their figures. What I would do then is jot down just a few notes to remind yourself what you're going to do. And of course, put down who you're citing it from, because you're going to have to give that person credit. Then rewrite those ideas in your own words. A lot of books, a lot of links online will tell you to close the screen and write it yourself. You might be more organized than I am, but usually when I'm doing research, I'm scrambling. And so I just usually, just write down a little bit saying, this is what I want to remember. And then I do it later. If I write down the exact words, I put quotation marks around it because I might forget later. That's extremely important. You don't want to quote someone when you think you're not. What happens if you don't paraphrase correctly? It's plagiarism. Easy. Easy. Even if you give the author credit. You either use the author's exact words with quotation marks. Quotation marks show it's the exact words. Or you paraphrase. And in either case, you have to always cite your source. You have to give people credit for their ideas, for their numbers, for their figures, for their images. So you need to be very, very careful about this. People have lost their jobs over this. People have been expelled from school over this. I don't mean to scare you. I just mean to tell you how important it is. I'm giving you an example here. This comes from Abraham Lincoln, the Gettysburg Address. 7 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. There's probably no reason to ever paraphrase this. You would quote it. But I'm using this as an example because looking at this, suppose I paraphrased it. Score means 20 years. So suppose I said, 87 years ago, our ancestors created in this hemisphere a new country, brought about in freedom and consecrated to the idea that all people are the same. Is that a paraphrase? I hope you're yelling at your computer right now and saying a resounding no. Do you see what I did? I just went through it and put synonyms in as I was going through it. That is not a paraphrase. It's actually a really poor replication of Lincoln's words. To do a paraphrase of this, I would have to get the idea, the core part of it, which is that our ancestors created a country based on liberty and equality. And I would have to move that around and say, I don't know, liberty and equality have always been the founding principles based on our founders. That's worded horribly. That's because I'm just saying this here. But do you see the point I'm trying to make? You get the idea from the original words and you change it into your own words. If you have any questions, please get in touch with me. This is super important. I will talk to you later, of course.